Hello there, I'm Deftus, and this is a commentary video to explain the Golden Lennon Combo I made some days back. To reiterate, a normal Streets of Fury combo would only have three parts. The ground combo, the air combo, and then, the first juggle, and then a second juggle. The second juggle would normally require an OTG, so an off-the-ground attack, to actually make the second juggle happen. So you can see, at this point in time, Freddy touches the ground after the first air juggle. We get one OTG from the game, so we can actually continue for one more round. This combo, however, is somewhat special. So we have our ways to get around that, so we don't have 3 parts, but 7 in this combo. And we will be going into detail on how that is exactly possible. So, first and foremost, the ground combo is somewhat simple. Normally you would want to get as close to 100 damage as possible with your ground combo as possible. Because once you hit 100 damage with your ground combo, your enemy will burst, and there will be no way of continuing the combo afterwards until you burst bait, which is not really a combo, so don't worry about it. We optimize this by doing forward B at the start. This actually deals 35 damage without even adding to this burst meter, so we actually get 135 damage until he bursts. Afterwards, we just try to do as close to 135 damage as possible. In fact, 133. And then the first air juggle happens. To explain the general philosophy behind juggling with Golden Lennon, the most DPS is from his aerial B attack, so his dive that uses stamina. By using this move as much as possible, we gain as much DPS as possible. So, in turn, as much damage as possible. So, we actually want to route this juggle in a certain way so that we are actually able to regenerate stamina during our juggle. So that's the reason we actually do, boom, 2 air Bs, and then 3 full air X strings to actually regain a bit of stamina that we've lost. We originally only had half, now we're back to 3 quarters. So the rest of this combo goes on until he hits high gravity, and then we do Air Fury. What would normally prevent infinites and crazy things to happen is this high gravity mechanic in this game. At some point after you've launched your enemy, they will enter a high gravity state where it is at some point no longer possible to juggle your opponent, because they will fall so fast you won't be able to do anything afterwards. However, Furies temporarily remove this high gravity state, which allows us to get more hits in before it starts again. So we try to do as much damage as possible before high gravity starts, then do our Air Fury. Freddy will have regular gravity again for this short period of time until we do one more move. So we use this opportunity to launch him and do as much aerial damage as possible until we follow up with a new Air Fury, so we gain this low gravity again. We do this a couple of times. This sequence is somewhat special because it optimizes both stamina and fury, so we can actually gain as much damage from this as possible. So keep a close eye to how we use stamina in this combo in general, because everything is really tight on that. So once we're done, we only have a very small amount left. We've really used as many RBs as we can fit in. Apologies. So this was our first air juggle. Again, this was already like a lot, like obviously. So the next part is the hardest part of the combo. And I will explain why, by slowing this down and telling you piece by piece what I actually do. So we do one down X string. We don't usually use this move in combos because it's somewhat slow. But bear with me, this is an important setup. We dash back and do a forward X. This move has to hit as early as possible. And if I mean as early as possible, I mean it. This thing has to hit when it doesn't even look like it can hit. So it doesn't even connect at all, right? It seems like it doesn't connect, but it has to hit this way. If Freddy gets hit any lower than that, this full combo wouldn't work, and this whole sequence would be meaningless because he would drop out. So hitting this as early as possible allows this sequence to eventually, boom, gravity reset with this hit. So by hitting an opponent on the same frame he hits the ground, it actually resets the gravity that he has, or this gravity timer that would tick down once he gets launched. So we get actually one more full combo off of this gravity reset. So we do again a down X string. This time we have to delay this even more than before because he was higher up when we hit him with this. This is even harder at the time. Again, this sequence, jab, jab, axe kick, this is another gravity reset. This is the end of this sequence, and that sequence probably took the most resets out of this combo. The reason we did that is not because it deals damage. In fact, this is the lowest damage part of the combo, but this was to actually regain both stamina and meter for the next part. You've realized that we've used almost all of our stamina for the next part. We don't want that. We want to do as much damage as possible. So we had to regain stamina in some way, and this was the way that I came up with. So next is the second air juggle. Again, we try to do as much damage as possible in the limited time we have before high gravity starts again. So we use air Bs, we use air X strings and air Y, this again, to regain a little bit of stamina so we can do one additional air B in the air. Boom, this is when high gravity started, so we do an air fury. And this is again where we do our high gravity sequence. This time a little bit different because Freddy at the end of our sequence was a little bit low to the ground, so we actually had to adjust our combo to that. And speaking of height, this last sequence, axe kick into these two launches into instantly 3 air Bs into air fury sets up perfectly for another gravity reset. This axe kick gravity resets. Again, we have almost no fury at this point. We've used up most of our stamina, so we do another sequence, a very specific sequence of hits, so we can actually regain stamina, regain a bit of fury, and gravity reset with this axe kick again for the following part. These gravity resets again have to hit on the same frame that Freddy touches the ground, so even though these things look like they're just free, they actually take very specific setups and a lot of trial and error, so you actually know what can gravity reset or not. Luckily, Golden Lennon has a pretty good tool set to just make those things happen with enough trial and error. So this next part tries to optimize damage and style points, so we actually do something different. We launch our enemy incredibly high with down B for the following part. Hitting a high air fury allows us to hit Freddy when he is very high off the ground, so this sequence is actually possible. Sorry, I should show this in full before I actually explain this. Boom, boom. Okay, this is a lot. Most of my attempts ended here, and very few got past this. So, this is the second hard part of the combo. So let's actually slow this down. By doing an axe kick, a forward Y, an up Y, and this reverse up B cancelled into a Fury, we are able to hit Freddy after the Y Fury. This is somewhat hard to pull off when he hits high gravity. And this reverse up B that we cancel is really, really specific. And I mean really specific. It has about a 2-frame window where it has to be cancelled, so this Fury actually allows us to continue the combo. So this would be too early, this would be too early, this would be too early, this would hit, and this is where we use it. 1 frame later, it would have missed. Cancelling it too early would make some of the hits of the Fury miss, so we wouldn't be able to continue the combo. Doing it too late would result in Freddy being too low for the rest of the juggle, so that would end the thing as well. So this is really specific and hard, but it looks incredibly cool. Also, doing a reverse move on the ground is somewhat hard. Especially if you try to mash it out, you just have to time this pretty well to actually get it out as you want it to. And then to catch Freddy afterwards, we use our fastest move, jab, into launch into axe kick. And then neutral B. This move is normally bad, and this combo would have ended here if it wasn't for Tutus who has recommended me to use this. Shoutouts to him. And also, this neutral B allows us to hit Freddy in a perfect timing where up Y into down Y combos into itself and can be looped until high gravity starts. So we do this 5 times. And then start our high gravity sequence again. However, at the end, we try to have as much stamina as possible, so actually, you see us having full stamina here at this point, before we use it on free air Bs again. This is intentional, because this next part, here is another gravity reset, the same setup as we did before. This next sequence is the end of the combo. My one condition for this combo was to end it on this. So, again, with the high launch, with the down B, however this time we try to be a bit more stylish, even more than we were before. We cross up with air Y, and it turns out that every single of his air moves are able to hit when we're not even looking at our opponent. So both air B and air X are able to hit cross up while not even looking at Freddy. And then we do a very specific 2 X strings into an air Y, into reverse Fury, so it hits exactly once. And it hits exactly once, so gravity will reset on Freddy, and nothing more. And we are able to use the bounce that we've given him with air Y, and continue into the final end of the combo, which is axe kick, this, into Fury. And Freddy will end up at the other side of the map, and you won't ever be able to continue after this. So yeah. To sum up, this combo tries to optimize both stamina and meter gain as much as possible, by using as many air Bs as possible in its combos. It has to both set up for the next sequences by controlling Freddy's height and stamina and fury, and it involves multiple gravity resets that were somewhat specific we're finding setups for. Specifically this part. This is so incredibly difficult. It's not like a 1-frame trick, but for this whole sequence, you really can't mess up at all. Like, you can't have any form of delay between those hits, other than the ones where you have to time this catch as early as possible. it's really hard. I'm sorry. This was frustrating. But all in all, finding all of this was incredibly fun and satisfying. Golden Lennon's toolbox really was a giant puzzle that you just had to create yourself in some way. Like every single of his moves is one puzzle piece, and you have to analyze each of those puzzle pieces one by one, so you can actually use it. Use multiple ways to use it to create your own puzzle that is this whole combo. In a sense, that is every Streets of Fury combo. Coming up with your own puzzle pieces and making the best of them to create something that is absolutely, completely your own. Even though this was incredibly frustrating and took me a month of grinding. Realistically 2, but I took some breaks. So yeah, I hope you found this entertaining and informative, or only one of both that worked as well. I thank you for watching to the end, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.